This is my find for the weekend. But this is the first one. This particular guy has a lot of machining stuff. They're kind of high price. Some of them are like new condition, but this lot was $18. This is a pair of channel locks, 369 model. These are 9.5 inch. This is roughly the $3 out of the 18. He was asking 15 for this, and 5 for this. I offered him 18. So it's about $3. The cutters are still in great condition, as far as there's no nicks or dents in the cutter itself. The jaws are in good condition also. Everything is just dirty, surface rust, maybe some light surface pitting. Handle covers are just dirty. It's only one little nick at the bottom. I'm just going to clean these up, possibly run them through my 1x30 belt sander and clean up the handles. And these will replace these older sets of Craftsman that I have. I've had these for about 15, maybe 20 years. And these were USA made, but however they had the laser etched Craftsman made in the US with the model number, but once you do a good cleaning with some sanding, they usually always come off. These were always my go-to, but these are quite heavy. You can tell the difference in thickness of the head and the body. I mean, these things are great. I don't think these are rated for high power, even though it looks like it. These are professional. But these were always heavy to use consistently when doing electrical work or any other type of work. These are same size, same length, same features, but this is a lot lighter. So these are my keepers, and I'll be selling these along with the other two that I have that I've purchased over the years, either flea markets or are purchased in the smaller sizes. So these are probably never used. And these here is what I noticed first. This is a set of what they call, or I call, thread file. They're made by the company Rife and Nestor. Number one basically does the 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 24 threads per inch. And the number 2 does the 9, 10, 12, 16, 20, 27, 28, and 32. These are brand new, never used. As a matter of fact, they still have these shipping sleeves, I guess, so they don't bang against each other. I'll keep these as is. I've always wanted to get one of these, but they were always high priced. You're looking at about $40 for a good pair, and higher, sometimes $50. These online right now are going for $45 a pair for this set. So for $15 for something that's, I think, either like new or new. There's no damage, no rust on them. I thought this was a steal. These are definitely keepers. And along with the channel lock pliers. The second vendor, he's there always. This time he had a few different items. Picked up 2 4-inch clamps. This one's unnamed, unknown manufacturer, but it's made in the US, manual steel. It's nice and straight, no damage to it, just except a lot of surface rust. And this will be a user. Like they say, you can never have enough clamps. I have quite a collection of C clamps, and I use them a lot. So I'll be cleaning this up, painting it at some point. The second one is a Williams, a J.H. Williams, forged in the USA, and this is a model number 404. Again, this has a fixed handle as far as it doesn't slide back and forth, and I guess it has so much grease on it that it might have been preserved real well. It looks like it's been used in some kind of fabrication shop because of the either welding splatter. So it looks like it got hit by the welder there, and there either splatter. I'll clean this up. And then I picked this up. It's a Kreuter pliers, 356 5.5 inch length, made in the US. These look like they've been plated, and to me this looks like a nickel plating because it's a little duller than a chrome plating. A lot of tools back then were nickel plated. I guess it was a cheaper manufacturing. Some tools weren't. Some tools were just black oxide. However, based on this embellishing that it has here, I haven't dated these, but I like to say these are from the 1910s, 1920s, maybe early 1930s. These are slip pliers. Hardly, just a little bit of surface rust, which I may just buff this out and call it a day. And this will be used. I just need to tighten the nut a little bit once I remove it and clean it. This is a Lufkin. I guess they call this it's a mini chuck for small drill bits, like number bits. I have quite a bit of these, more in the Starrett manufacturers. I don't think I have one this small for something. This is a Nicholas, same company that makes the Nicholas files. A Nicholas burr. This is a 3/8 by roughly 1 inch radius. This is not a carbide one. It's just a high-speed steel. This is brand new, surprisingly. Even though it has rust, it's never been used. I don't see any use on it at all. It's just a flat screwdriver tip, but it's designed for one of these that accept these square tangs or shanks at the end. I didn't buy it to use it. I just figured let me throw it in and see what kind of price he was asking for. I thought it'd be something just neat to have. But either way, altogether, he wanted 4 for each, and then another $2 for this little bundle here. So for 10, I didn't think that was a bad deal. Like I said, these pretty much are all keepers. This is more for, I just want it. This I'll clean up. And these are Stanley, made in the US. So this, like I said, altogether 10 bucks. This third lot, this fella, he's always there. He has a lot of neat stuff. A lot of it's junk, but it's good stuff. Apparently, between last week and this week, he must have gotten quite a bit of old tools. There was a Kennedy box there. He had full of tools, and I found some of the items inside in that box. This is a Union box. I think in the last video, or the previous video, I showed one that I have that I acquired with a Black & Decker 1920s vintage 1/4 inch drill. And the box was larger, but it still had the same font style. Like, I thought it was 50s, 60s, 70s. The reason I bought this, because I'm hoping that this one's a little smaller will fit that drill, but I don't think so. Either way, it's in good condition. With the chrome or nickel plating on this, there is no damage on this box at all, except normal wear and years of use. So this will be restored. You know what, I like to say this is 70s because this is that, what I call that puke green that was very popular in the 70s. So I'll have to find some powder coating with what I call the puke green, and I'll do a restoration on this and keep it for some miscellaneous stuff. What I did find there, matter of fact, there is a sticker price inside. I believe that's a Kmart. I'm not sure. That symbol looks like a K, for $3.47. I may just remove that sticker and after the restoration put it back there and actually seal it in place. I think that's pretty neat. However, what I found there is another Miller Falls coping saw. This is the deepest one I have now. If you watch my previous videos, I have another Miller's Fall coping saw. This is number 47. Miller's Fall. Handles in good condition, no damage to it, just normal wear. This will clean up good. It looks like the electroplating on this is pitted. I may clean that up and then nickel plate the whole thing. Again, this is something I guess later on. This might be a later feature. The mechanism for the top that holds the blade in the bottom are pinned in place with this small arm. So again, with that last one I had, this is going to be an issue. I may have to drill that out and repin it just to clean this separately. I picked up a couple of small files of ones that I don't have, and mostly the reason I picked them up was because of the handles. Even though this is dirty, I'll wash this, pull a couple coats of linseed oil and call it a day. This is from the Nuts File and Tool Company. I think Connecticut, USA. At least the handle is. This is a slim file to Nicholson. Slim file. I'm not sure if this is any good. We'll try to restore it and clean it up for use. And this is more of a RAS file. But I actually have a similar handle for this one that I'm restoring. This one here. This is very dirty. That is a I don't know, SKROO 70N. But these handles are very nice. That one is a type of screw-on type. It has a hardened female thread that screws onto the tang, which on these files, which are not hardened. This might be the same one. Those are very nice because they hold good. Second in there was this wooden. I have a few putty knives. This is a very heavy gauge one, and I use them a lot. I can't find the brand on this, but it's a hardwood with the brass fasteners. And then I found a pair of pliers. I'm not sure what they call this style, but these are pretty old. The only marking that I see here is it says Germany right here, but these are more for wire cutting. They have a very narrow opening as far as the thickness of wire on these three. The jaws are in good condition. The teeth are still there. They close great, and there's no damage to this one. Based on the handle on this, I'm not sure what they were doing in Europe. This might be like 40s, 1940s. But this will be a keeper because I like to jaw on it for different projects or different use. Different widths, different hefts to it. And then here's another Kreuter diagonal cutters or pliers. This is a model 45015, so it's 5 inches. Based on the research I've done online, when it has a smooth handle, these were like mid 40s to early 50s, I believe. However, these cutters are still great. They're not damaged at all. They're in good condition. These will clean up very nicely, and I'm just gonna, my final finish on this will be a Scotch-Brite on the Scotch-Brite wheel to blend in all the sanding. I don't like to buff out my tools where it's a mirror finish. These are tools. They're going to be used, they're going to get scratched. Hopefully this will be around for another 100 years. So this is definitely a keeper. This is probably my smallest user sets that I have in general. And then I found in that box I mentioned, the Kennedy box, I found this. I have a smaller version, but this is a Irwin micro dial. This is for that same bit brace that I showed earlier. This is complete. It has both cutters. I'm sorry, cutters. Yeah, cutters, the outside cutters. This one goes from 7/8 to 1 3/4, and the one that's installed there goes from that measurement all the way up to a 3-inch diameter. So this will make up to a 3-inch diameter bore. I understand that these are not very clean, but if you need a hole, you want to do it by hand that large, and you don't care about how clean it is, this will do the job. I have another Irwin, more modern day Irwin. It was a new old stock that doesn't go up to 3 inches, and again it has Irwin number 22A, US, made in the US of A, which is unique. This must be like new old stock, because this has no wear on it. The teeth are still very clean. It just has a lot of surface rust. So this will be cleaned up and put with my other bit braces. And the packaging, I thought it was pretty amazing. It's drop forge finest tool steel, made in the US, and it has all the instructions on the back of the package. It even has an illustration of the maximum, how do you adjust the scale on here to achieve the diameter you want. But this is a keeper. This was like one of those impulse buys. It's a perfect handle pipe wrench. I have quite a few of these. I think this is the smallest one. However, this was the first one I found that was in decent condition. It has very little wear as far as this striking hammer that it has on here. It's not bent, it's not destroyed, it's not nicked, except for a few marks there. It closes all the way down. It has a couple, a few wear marks where it's been peened over by whatever they had in here. But what I like about this is the bottom. I'm hoping this will be a nice, easy restore. These are notorious, not notorious, I guess the way the manufacturers did it, that the pin that goes through into this body was peened over this end washer. This looks like the end washer was actually screwed over. It might have been slightly peened, but this could be taken out. Once I put some penetrating oil in there, maybe some, I don't want to put any heat because of the wood. I may be able to take that nut out and remove everything into all its parts, clean it up, sand it, sand this, and again take into just a Scotch-Brite and boiled linseed oil finish and call it a day. This is by the company PS&W Company, Cleveland, USA. I haven't found a model number on it, not yet, not through all this grime and rust, but I think that these will clean up nicely. I may never use these, but who knows, this will be most likely just displayed. And this entire lot, as you see it, he wanted, what did he ask for? $10. I couldn't argue with him. I didn't. He's really a nice guy. His prices are always excellent, and I always knock him down. With this one, I couldn't. I mean, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items. what is that, $1.20 a piece if you did the math. And you know, I got some really nice vintage tools for the $10 that he was asking for. This is the last vendor. This guy had a lot of very unique tools, vintage. And something that was very unique about him is that he actually cleaned up most of his tools and oiled them. For example, these two pliers, and actually these three pliers were all ran on a wire wheel to remove all, I guess, all the surface rust. And everything was oiled because there's actually oil oozing out of the pin on most of this. What drew me to his table was, I mentioned with last week's video that I had a small ball peen hammer. I purchased a small ball peen hammer. However, this is the smallest one that I owned right now. It's a Stanley 291B 2 ounce. However, it's not, yeah, it's a, yep, I thought it was a different handle, but some of the original vintage label is still there. You can kind of make out the Y, the E, bottom of the L, so this was definitely a Stanley. The handle is pretty much in perfect condition, no damage, no cracks, no chipping. However, this is the smallest one I have. I picked it up with him without even asking, walked around with it until I found these. This, thanks to YouTube channel Scout Crafter, you gotta watch his videos. It's awesome if you're into collecting, restoring. The guy has an infinite knowledge as far as techniques, products for stuff like this, tools. He includes a lot of history with this, which is amazing. This is a Billings wrench. I haven't done my homework on this, but this is, the other manufacturers copied this after, I guess after the patent expired. But this is an original Billings. It's a CE Billings, and it has a patent date here of February, and they abbreviated February by FEB apostrophe Y. And to me it looks like 1878. February 18th, 1878. But it has the stamped information there. It also has it on here with the city and state, Radford. I can't read it. Radford, Connecticut, USA. But this I thought was great. I've never seen this in one of these in person. I've just seen them on YouTube and online. The next thing was these. This is a pair of Kreuters. I've lucked out with a lot of Kreuter pliers today. The most I've ever found. Usually I find one or pretty much none. However, I've always wanted one of these. These are duckbill pliers. And these are in excellent condition, I guess, based on the handle. I like to say that these are 40s, 1940s, maybe 50s. This guy the vendor ran it through the wire wheel and oiled it. It is smooth as all hell. And then I found another Kreuter model 3568 USA. Is 8-inch slip joint pliers. These are a hair loose, but that can be tightened there. I may take it over the top on this one like Scout Crafter does and sand everything since I'll have it apart. However, it'll be a finished of Scotch-Brite wheel. And this one is what also drew my attention to the table. Another Kreuter and Company, Newark, New Jersey, right here in good old Jersey. Just don't say that too loud. USA, model 1841-10 for 10 inches. These, based on the history that I found online, this is what I was talking earlier about the diamond grip on the handles. This was one of their early known styles. Again, a pair of pliers that's roughly 100 years old, still in excellent condition, used. The jaws are in excellent condition. Cutters are not damaged. Again, the guy oiled it, ran it through the wire wheel. Oh, here's my other Croyders that I mentioned in a previous video. This is the first generation. This is second generation. So these are 1910, 1920s. These are 1920s, 1930s. And then the smooth style then started with the late 1930s into the 40s and beyond. But this is another pair of Croyders, the 1841B. I believe the 1841 were for professional or better quality, but it's the same style of buttons, pliers, except this one has an additional jaw on the smaller jaw on the top. But I especially love these from, I would say, the Art Deco era, with the that type of embellishing on the grips. But these are sweet also. This has already been restored by me on the sander, 1x30 belt sander. I left the inside as original. Oh, and that period had the Croyder USA stamping inside, or while the other ones had the forged steel for that vintage. These are amazing. And in order to sweeten the deal, he wanted $15 for this, which I thought was still a great price. About $3 a piece. I always look at things as per item. Even no matter how cheap, you know, whether I resell it or keep it, that's the way I look at it. I was trying to offer him $14. He wouldn't take it. So I said, what about this? He said, for the $15 you can take that. He said, that's his free. Basically, I have a ton of these, you know, but I don't have a letter one. This is a drill bit stand of this style. I have probably 2 or 3s. I have a numbers one, a regular fractional one, but I don't have a letter one. However, I have one too many drill bit stands that I like to collect. This is an original, this is an eBay find, original Cleveland fractional one. And I have the same one in a numbered one. I also have these. Cleveland, Ohio. It's the Cleveland Twist Drill Company. This is their numbered set. With the same lot, I got the letter set. And to sweeten the deal, I got their fractional set. And the included high-speed steel drill bits, as you see it. I think I got these for about $60 to $70 a piece from one seller. 3 different auctions within the same week. You couldn't pass this down. You couldn't buy a good drill bit set for $60, $70. Not to mention this vintage style thing, stand. In fact, here on the bench I do have one of those other stands mentioned here. This is the fractional one. And somewhere else I have the numbered one. So I must have about 8 different stands, if not more. Maybe closer to 10. I like these old style, how they made them, how they looked. Either way, the guy wanted $15 for this whole set. And I couldn't complain at that, you know. Again, the way I look at things, what is it, 6? Under $3 a piece. You know, about $2.80 a piece. Most of these are all keepers. I'm still on the fence about this one. I may not touch this until I maybe find other slip joints. If I find other similar ones and larger and smaller ones, which I do have the smaller one. In know, from the other vendor today. I may wind up keeping these, you know, and replace my what I call vintage Craftsman ones that I have. These are probably from the 90s, 1990s that is, and these are USA made. However, everything that the manufacturer did for these, it all had that laser etching. This was a flea market find probably a year ago because it has a lot of pitting. Kind of cleaned it up, but they had the laser etching on these, and once you start to clean them up, if they get a little surface rust, that just comes right off. But these are definitely, you know, they're all still in great condition, and I've used these tons of times. I use them all the time. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave any comments below of anything you see here, whether you have an opinion, more information. Leave a negative comment if you want. I don't care. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one.